And when we were preparing for this show, we recalled the wise ancient saying by our sages, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and shaming makes this saying come true. Pizza, please. Yeah, today with a push of a button, you can destroy a person's life. You can slander his good name, his life work. You can really bring a person to such a state of lowliness where he'll feel that there's no point to keep on living. This is a state that really brings a person sometimes to helplessness because suddenly, overnight, he wakes up in the morning and he finds out that he is in the headlines of the social media, vilified, slandered, and the online shaming took a turn for the worse recently with the use of social media becoming ever more negative. A person has a keyboard, he can write whatever he wants, and it actually becomes as a weapon in his hands. The truth is, I was thinking a lot even about what actually would be my first question to you, and then what I understood was that maybe more than anything else, let's try and understand the person himself, that all these arrows are targeted at him, the person that wakes up one morning and discovers that his good name is slandered on the network. What does he feel? What do these words make him feel? Hell? Hell. Yeah, we learn from the wisdom of Kabbalah that the Creator, who wanted to compel a person to become more moral and educated and treat others nicely, having more integrity, he shamed him. He opened and showed a person what his nature is, the egoistic desire. And man was so shocked by it that he threw away all these options and didn't want to touch them anymore at all, neither for development nor for anything else. After many actions where he abstained himself from all these things, then the Creator arranged an opportunity for him to come and correct himself again and be above his ego, already in an inverted way, that you'll arrange your life and everything in the best possible way, only on condition that you do it in favor of bestowing onto others. Then you'll have nothing to be ashamed of. But if you're behaving according to your characteristics, your egoistic nature, the time will come that you will be so ashamed. You'll discover in each situation that you're such an egoist, that you're harming everyone so much, and that they shame you in return so bad because they see what you're doing. And this is actually the torments of hell. But you know, many times a person who's experiencing the online shaming, he doesn't identify or agree with the words said about him, he even sees it as a mistake. And the people who write it about him, maybe they don't even really know him. Still, the feeling of a person here is complete helplessness. True. And he really feels that his good name is destroyed, seemingly not because he is ashamed of something that he did, but he's labeled with something that he didn't do. Maybe I didn't explain it enough. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. Therefore, our egoistic nature, what is the ego? The ego is that I protect myself in order not to be harmed by the shame, hurt by the shame, because all the corrections that a person has to undergo are based on shame. This is how he's being played with, both from above, by the upper force, and also by the environmental forces, what's around him. Therefore, everything I do in life, I always do it, regardless what that is, in order not to be ashamed. And maybe even place myself even a bit above the shame, feeling proud, condescending. But I always play only with the shame. How can I distance myself from it? Keep myself in a protected state where I'm all good and nice, and that it's hard to throw me off that place where I am, and that I'll look in the eyes of others as an excellent human being. That is the fundamental desire of every person. Yes, because our ego is our fundamental force. Great. You get up tomorrow morning and you see that you were vilified on the net. Someone wrote something. It could be a picture, it could be a video, it could be a few words, and the whole good name you wanted to build yourself your whole life and the respectable status that you've described that a person aspired for whole life, suddenly comes someone with a keyboard and internet and slanders you completely. If this were to happen in the Middle Ages, someone would tell me something bad, it would take time to spread. But today, in a day or two, it could be shared by hundreds of thousands of people on the net that don't know who you are, what you are, and suddenly your whole good name, everything you worked for, is broken into pieces. What does that person feel now? He feels that he was erased, buried. He feels that there is no point in living because a person's self, his foundation, that I exist, that I am some kind of a special unit, and there is none else besides me. There are others, but not like me. I'm unique. And if this is erased, then a person doesn't feel that he is alive. His personality is being erased, and therefore people who commit suicide as a result of online shaming, it's very natural. Why is it natural? Why? Seemingly, a person has a desire to survive, and it's stronger than having a good or bad name. It only seems that way. So please explain. Before our world was created, and we as people in this world, back in our spiritual roots, before this world was created and we on it and so on, before the Big Bang, man's nature was made, which is the self, facing the Creator, creation, everyone. And how's it expressed? By the force of pride, the feeling of the self, entity. And when it's taken from me, erased, then I disappear. What you can say, but you're healthy, you have a body, I have a family. It's all in our world. It's all corporeally, and sorry for saying so, but it's on an animalistic level of existence like any other animal. But the human part of me, the inner force, the spiritual ego, where I feel shame, I blush, I really protect and keep it. Tell me, what are we constantly advancing for? It's enough for us to live in a quiet, peaceful way, build our life. Everyone has his family, home, kids. Everyone does something in order to win some bread. Why are we all the time making so much noise? We're in such competition in creating, producing, and every person wants to break through being more than others. It's all the power of pride. It's all in order to cover the shame. So there are two feelings here, pride and shame. These are two sides of the same coin. Yes. Can you please explain? I want to feel pride. And by no means to reach the point of shame. Shame is the lowest boundary, that if you breach that boundary, I prefer to die. What's that feeling of shame? That I don't exist? I'm lowered to a level of an animal. But how could it be that you don't exist? If we talk about someone, suppose, that tries to be a good person as much as he can, and someone else comes and says, no, he's evil, he did this and that. It's on the net. It doesn't change the way he looks at himself as a good, nice human being. Incorrect. But it's only words. It didn't change his reality that he is a good person. The self consists of two levels: the corporeal, animalistic level, which is my body. Me, my family, the kids, things that I have to keep, I have to see the results from life in this way. Me, the wife, the kids, parents, and so on. Corporeally wise, in this respect, we're very close to animals. In addition, we have another level, which isn't the animalistic level, but it's the speaking level, the human level. And the difference there between the animate level and the speaking level, the human level in me, is that I know how to blush. Animals don't. No animal blushes. You can tell your cat that stole your cream, you should be ashamed of yourself. And poor guy, he's all ashamed, really covers his face. Did you ever see something like that? No. Maybe in the circus. Well, I don't know something like that, but they do respond in a certain way, but it's not blushing. And that's because they already learned from people what to do. He does it in order not to get beatings. And here, it's hurting a person's personality. Besides this body, the animalistic body, there is something on a completely different level that has nothing to do with my life as a human being, which is the animalistic level. I want to understand the insult. The personality part, I understand that it's something spiritual. It's so spiritual that the body dies and he doesn't. Our internality, our spirituality does not die. It's the soul, let's call it. Undeveloped yet, it's only a spark, a point, a reshimo, so to speak, a spiritual gene. And this part every time clothes in other bodies from generation to generation. And this part, it exists between pride and shame. And here it depends on what does a person pride himself on or is ashamed about. Here he exchanges his values, and through the change of values he is in constant ascent until he reaches the degree of the Creator. And the development of this part is on the 125 spiritual degrees, where every time he changes the value of pride and shame. About the insult on the personality. I understand that there's a part in you that's eternal, like you say, which is a person's personality. And therefore it has a force which is even stronger than your vital force. You live, you die, you commit suicide, doesn't matter. You have something greater than that. It depends on the development of a person himself. There are people who don't feel it all. For them, I'm alive, thank God, wife, kids, livelihood, I have everything, that's it. Soccer, beer, I'm good. I'm talking about people that are more subtle, more developed, so they're more sensitive towards that inner part in them. People that are more developed are people who feel greater shame, sensitivity towards shame or pride. And then, in order to arrange these feelings, they can kill everyone. They can be good and everything, but around this component called shame, a person's self,